For a lot of it, I ended up sleeping in the spare room just to give her space in the bed, you know, so she could spread out as much as she could. We got the pillow, you know, with the pregnancy pillows and things like that. Just try and help her do a bit more around the house as much as I can. Cleaning up, coming home from work and cleaning up and things like that. Just do anything I can really. Physically, I couldn't really do much because you just got to go through it all. But I just try to help out as best I can that way around the house more than anything.
I was included as much as I was allowed to be. You know, I'd attend as many appointments as I could. The interaction, you know, feeling, kicking, things like that. You know, I was doing all that. Any service we went to visit regarding, like whether we're electing for the caesarean and things like that, I went along too, and I was included very much so from the midwives and things like that. So I was included quite a lot.
Sally was in the operating theatre still, so the baby got cleaned up, and I actually went over to where it was getting weighed and stuff and cut the umbilical cord, and then the guy washed Ren, and then I went into her room, and then he brought us in so I could do the skin-on-skin contact, obviously, because Sally had the epidural and stuff and was feeling ill, and, well, you know, coming round from the epidural, so I actually got to do the skin-on-skin. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a really nice experience.
It was just a really nice experience, a bonding experience with Theo as soon as he came.
I think Theo agrees.
Just helps build that bond between them.
We only have a limited time after the birth to have like if you're lucky, 3 weeks off work. I only had 2 weeks off, and the week that I had off, she was in hospital with Jasmine for a week, so we didn't really build that much sort of relationship from birth, because I was coming and going from the hospital, and you only could stay a few hours at a time and stuff. So the first couple of weeks I thought, this is going to affect us in later life.
You're not with them at the night, you know, the first night and things like that, but when we get home, you're involved, especially with it being twins. You've got one each, so you're pretty much on them all the time anyway. The first night we got home, just both in my arms like that, so pretty straight away connecting.
First few months was loud, real loud, and quite hard work. I think I didn't expect it to be such hard work, but when you're this cute, it doesn't really matter.
I was exhausted, 24/7, but I don't know how I woke up. I don't know how parents do this. Like, we go through the zombie stage, but we're still able to function as it goes. I've had times, you know, when like mothers have baby brain, I'd forget stuff, man. And you're in this state where you can't think, but obviously when you get to work, you have to think, and you're just like, I can't do it right now, I'm freaking out. It's like a lethargic state until your body actually gets used to having like less hours of sleep. But the first few months of having a child, it's torture.
The other day, just making sure that I was getting all the nappies, the milk ready, getting all the clothes ready, that type of thing, and also to make sure I can help my wife out as well, from getting her stuff ready, making her cup of tea and stuff. Sorry.
I'm mostly the guy that's just saying, you know what, babe, it's going to be okay. Let me take the baby away for, 10, 15 minutes until he cries again, so she's just getting a little bit of her sanity back. I think the first few months, you mostly have the guy, the mediator, who just wants to be like, oh, no, let's just keep it cool, yeah. Let's just try and keep that nice and tidy. Let's keep food in the house, make sure there's a nice supply, you know what I mean? So no one has to freak out and be like, there's no dinner. So you just want to make sure that everything is just like taken care of.
We do chat to each other. We have chats, like I try and tell her about my day. She tells me about like a milk. It's all good.
I only took 2 weeks off, unfortunately. I would have liked to have taken more if I could have done, but I work for myself, so every day that you're not in is a day that you're not getting paid for. But so I took the 2 weeks off and spent that first 2 weeks. I mean, some of it was Anne was still in hospital. For the remainder of it, it was just really, really nice. It was nice just to. It was like a bit of chaos, obviously, because you're just adjusting to a completely different way of life, and baby's coming home, the dog's getting used to baby being here, you're getting used to baby being here and things. You've got a house full of people and all that sort of stuff. So it's chaotic but in a nice way. I think that first 2 weeks, isn't it? No answer.
Not
yet. Yeah, not yet.
First few months, feeding, at least night feeds. would always take it in turns for night feeds. I didn't mind staying up to do the last feed at night. That didn't really bother me. So with night feeds, she was bottle fed.
And when I came home, you'd be like, oh, I know who you are. And you're just like, oh, he knows who I am. But the first stages is just like, they just want the milk from the breast because that's what they smell. And then when he smelled me, he was just like, ah, this guy stinks. Not in like a weird way, but you know what I mean? So when you started interacting, I think that's when I actually felt like a dad. Because then you can be like, oh, now I can teach him like the things that I do. But the first 2 months, it's all new. It's just like a blur.
I was fun. I was the player. I'd come in and I'd play, and you know, because that's all I really had time for. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be out in the morning, probably give them the breakfast in the morning, and then I'm out at work. And as soon as I come home, it's that an hour before bed. So it's me. I'm playing with them, and bathing them, putting her to bed.
We've got like my mum and Lucy's dad. They've made us teas in the past, banging it microwave, proper meals, you know. Things like that are so helpful. But from a dad's point of view, don't worry, take the offers. Don't go, oh no, you're alright, take it, and make him do it.
It's just been a bundle of joy now, and it helps me out seeing that I've got this beautiful little girl here that I can look after and hopefully make her happy and cheerful type of thing.
I was on like cuddling duty, and I was on making the bottle duty, basically anything that didn't require too many brain cells, because I obviously carried on working whilst Jen was on maternity leave. Jen was a lot more hands-on in terms of night feeds and all that sort of stuff, but my role was the same. Feeding, looking after, nappies, I did all that, did all nappies. I had some right nappies, I'm telling you. The first massive one I ever did was like an explosion one. It was like, honestly, it was like, you know, have you seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know, Willy Wonka, the original? When Augustus Gloop falls in the chocolate river. It was like the chocolate river.
I was excluded recently, up until recently, because I was working full time. Anytime she'd bump herself, Mama is the first words out of her mouth. She didn't want to know me. But I think that's because I think Mum's with her majority of the time, and she's the main carer really. So I do get excluded in certain situations from baby. So.
Talking to the mate about it the other day. We used to live for the weekends and things like that. Saturdays don't matter now, in that sense. You know, it's more like you'd be lost without them. So, completeness.